I'm inflamed, I'm puffy, where are my abs? I look like the abominable snowman. And I feel tired, I feel chronically fatigued, I feel like my adrenal glands are out of whack, I'm craving more sugar. I want you to start paying attention to how you feel before a stressor happened in your life and how you feel afterwards. And the problem is we need stress in our life to, strengthen our cells internally. But if we don't get rid of the inflammation, that becomes cardiovascular disease, that becomes diabetes, that becomes, our hormonal imbalance, and it leads us into a life we don't want to get into.
Hey, Holistic Hilda here. I bring you experts, experiences, and epic adventures to boost your health. At this unsteady time with the coronavirus and people's concerns, I feel like now more than ever, I want to get important information to you to boost your health, help you support your immune system, and live a peaceful, happy life. The conversation I had with Shipman is one I really wanted you to hear. You guys, she is a ER trauma nurse who works the night shift. So she has to do everything she can to kind of reconfigure her health to help her body set its proper circadian rhythm and to benefit from hacks that she incorporates into her life to stay strong amidst that stressor on her body, really. So check out this conversation that we recorded when we were in Minnesota at the Fire and Ice Retreat. Chan, welcome to the channel. You guys, Chan is my new best friend. I have seriously been following her for some time. She's the Night Shift biohacker on Instagram, and I wanted her to talk to us today, first about biohacking, and secondly, how she uses it to combat the ill effects of night shift work. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So what does it mean to be a biohacker? Just help us define terms right now.
Well, just like your husband is an accidental biohacker, I started in Western medicine. I'm a night shift ER trauma nurse, and I knew that night shift would be horrible. And when I went out to find all the research, there was none. There's just, it's horrible for you. You should quit your job. But I love my job. And there's other people who do night shift. And so biohacking to me is taking those research, connecting the dots, and creating yourself to become a field researcher, self-experiment, find out what your biochemistry is and how it functions, and basically bump it up to the next level, up your game.
So nice. And the reason I love this, you guys, is because, let's face it, there's a lot of toxicity in our world, whether it's a lot of radiation from cell towers or the glyphosate that's sprayed on the food that we're eating, so we need to build our resilience and strength, and basically that's what Chan is doing. So tell us some of the steps you take just to, again, combat the ill effects of being up all night and asleep during the day.
Okay, let me paint this picture. So hospital work, right? LED, fluorescent lights, you got Wi-Fi routers everywhere, you got cleaning chemicals, you got bleach, anything to combat diseases, growing bacterias and toxins. And so that, and working a 12-hour shift from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., 6 nights a week. Can you imagine how disrupt my circadian rhythm is? Mm-hmm. When we're not made to be nocturnal animals, we're meant to rise with the sun and set with the sun. We eat when the sun is rise. We stop eating when the sun sets. Mm-hmm. We sleep when it's dark. We are awake when it's night. My life is opposite of that. That's increased cortisol. It's just crazy, and it puts myself in a panic mode, survivor mode constantly, where my sympathetic system, heart rate, blood pressure, weight gain, inflammation, all of that is on the rise. And basically I am combating all that with certain routines that I do on a daily basis.
And I want to interrupt for just a second to say, you do not have to be doing night shift work to relate to what she's talking about. How many people work in offices with fluorescent lighting where there are emergencies, your boss is screaming, get that report to me. Like, your cortisol is also going through the roof, right?
Yeah, or sitting in traffic.
Oh my gosh, yes. And there's weight gain, there's anxiety, all these things that come with that situation, that lifestyle. So I remember you were telling me the other day that one thing you do is hack your light. So talk to us about that.
So if you're on the opposite of a normal circadian rhythm, which is sunrise to sunset, you're basically, you have cells you have clocks in your cells, and they tell you what to do. They initiate response. So when the sunlight hits your skin or your rods and cone, your melatonin decreases because you're going to be awake, right? And your cortisol goes up because you need to be alert and focus. And basically, with that light, you can use red light, You can use blue blockers, and there's different one nowadays to manipulate the sunlight effect. Because in the morning the sunlight's different from midday sun to sunset. It's all different, and when you don't have the natural sunlight, you need to start either getting a vitamin D lamp, or else you can get seasonal depressive disorder. You guys have heard about that in the Pacific Northwest. It's not something you want to have. But basically, sunlight is so important, and if you don't live a normal routine to have it, you need to start thinking about how you can get it.
Yeah, and those seasonal affect disorder panels that some people get, unfortunately, from what I've heard, can emit a lot of blue light. What you really need is the red part of the spectrum. I mean, obviously natural sunlight, but if you can't get it, right, get a near infrared panel or a red lighting to be gentler on your eyes so that you can experience what you're not getting from the sunlight. But let me just say, for those of you who work during the day and have something of a normal schedule but spend too much time indoors, there are little things you can do, like adding software to your computer so that the screen adjusts with the time of day. There's one called f.lux that you could put on your computer. Or like right now we're in this window room with a lot of sunlight coming in. That's great, but the windows are actually blocking some of the spectrum, UVA and UVB light, which we actually need. So if you can, if you're in a place like this, open the windows or take a sun break, right?
Yeah, take a sun break, open the window, toss the hair, get those rods of cone exposed to natural sunlight.
Why does this make me think of, who's the singer? I got my hair done, check my nails, baby, how you doing? Anyway, Lizzo. Okay, sorry. A little distraction. But look, you guys, I mean, and speaking of hair done and check my nails and looking great and feeling good, Chan is an example of how you can biohack your health. She is not letting her environment get her down. So she's hacking her light. What else do you do? What do you do with temperature?
Oh, so for daytime sleep, it's really important that you sleep colder. So I have a chili pad, and it's set to 60 degrees every day. There's certain things I do to maintain sleep. So whether you're night shift or day shift, everybody always either has some type of insomnia, can't get to sleep, can't sustain sleep. If you have a sleep monitoring device, it's going to tell you your REM or deep sleep, which is one of the most two factors you should be measuring. People are really upset with their scores, or their HRVs aren't as high, their heart rate variability aren't as high as where they want it to be. There are certain things in the environment we need to do because of modern lifestyle that we need to hack in order to maintain a more primal state, which is what our body loves.
Absolutely. And that cool temperature when you're sleeping, you should have that at night too. So if you're like, I have a regular schedule, but I have trouble sleeping at night, I always crack my bedroom window open a bit. And I try to sleep with a few less covers and less layers. And as Thaddeus says, if you wear less clothes, who knows what can happen at night. Anyway, Thaddeus Owen is our friend, the primal hacker. But so that is a great advice, to sleep colder, to get that deeper sleep, which we really need to kind of re-energize our body, let our brains, as they say, take out the trash. And if you're not getting that deep sleep, you're not getting the restorative sleep that you need.
Yeah. And to circle back on light, since we're talking about sleep, whether you're day or night shift, you really need to sleep in a blackout room. You shouldn't have your screen on. You shouldn't have any blue lights, right? If your skin even senses light, it's saying, ooh, maybe it's time to wake up. And then your melatonin gets all disrupted, and that's probably why you're not having restful sleep. Turn off the blue lights, make it black, or, like she said, the near infrared red, and go to bed.
Oh, that's such good advice. And do you wear a sleep mask, by the way?
Sometimes, and those are panicky because I don't, because for some odd reason, anything pressure in this area just reminds me of spiders or traumatic, past history. But I've heard a cooling sleep mask or anything to block out the light is helpful for some people. But like I said, find what fits for you and your lifestyle. And it really should start by wanting a better sleep most of the time.
Now, besides the chili pad, I have the feeling that you do some other cold therapy. Talk to us about that.
So I have, if you follow me on my Instagram, it's Nightshift Biohacker. I have a before and after. Before I start my 6 nights of work to the end of my 6 nights of work. The before picture is like abs are cut out, very slim. I'm not inflamed. There's no puffiness, no swollenness. At the end of 6 nights, you can actually see the effects of those environmental factors. I'm inflamed, I'm puffy, where are my abs? I look like the abominable snowman. And I feel tired, I feel chronically fatigued, I feel like my adrenal glands are out of whack, and I'm craving more sugar. I want you to start paying attention to how do you feel before a stressor happened in your life and how you feel afterwards. And the problem is we need stress in our life to, strengthen our cells internally. But if we don't get rid of the inflammation, that becomes cardiovascular disease, that becomes diabetes, that becomes, our hormonal imbalance, and it leads us into a life we don't want to get into.
So does that sound like you, like feeling inflamed, maybe lethargic, puffy, and just not at your best? If that feels like you, then you might want to try some cold therapy stuff, like not only the chili pad, but I think you take plunges regularly, don't you?
I do take plunges, and I know plunges can sound scary in a deep freezer that I can set the temp at 30 degrees. But 5 years ago when I started this, I started with simple facial ice plunge. Bridget Bardot, Estee Lauder, you want to go back to all the aesthetic women of history? They all did facial plunge for skin elasticity. But here in the modern day biohackers, we're doing it to decrease inflammation. But hey, you're going to get great skin out of it too.
Yes, I've heard that Hollywood stars do this sort of thing. It kind of shrinks your pores and stimulates the collagen and all that, right? We're going to go do it in a second so you guys can see us. But I have another question. People often talk about the vagus nerve and how if you get the water close enough to the vagus nerve, what does that stimulate in the body?
So the vagus nerve controls your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, your heart rate, your blood pressure, anything, your vascular system pumping in and out, things that remove toxin, bring in extra oxygen. So it's basically your whole circulation. So when you stimulate that nerve enough, you get changes in those variables, and you can actually have yourself calm down. You can have yourself work up. And then another way to stimulate that area is through breath work too. So there's many different ways to stimulate.
But when we stick our face in the water, are we stimulating it?
Yes.
Okay, you guys. And so think of it this way. Just like when we work out and we're giving our bodies just enough stress to get stronger, when you do some cold therapy, whether it's a face plunge or a plunge in a cold pool, you're kind of stressing your body just enough to make it stronger and more resilient. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Let's go do it. Shan, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching, you guys. Comment below and let me know what you thought of this conversation and if you'd like to hear from more health professionals on the front lines and what they're doing to shore up their health. Also, subscribe so you don't miss a thing and click on the notification bell so you can be alerted every time I upload a new video. Thanks a lot. Love you. Stay well.